Hey, today is a quick little lesson coming from 5.7 out of our book. It's changing decimals to fractions. We know a lot about decimals now. We've started to learn a lot about fractions, and now we need to figure out how exactly do they work together. So one thing that we need to know how to do is how to change a decimal to a fraction. And this is where we need to think back to our place values and really make sure that we know what they are, that we're paying attention to the posters that are up on the wall in the classroom, and make sure that we know what our place values are, because we need to be accurate with that in order to get them into the correct fraction. So the first thing we want to do is look at our decimal and figure out how would we say this. You know, we don't want to say 0.1. We would say this is 1/10. Well, that is exactly how we would write it as a fraction, 1/10. So 1/100th becomes 1/100. 1,000th becomes 1/1000. So what we want to be doing is writing the decimal and then making sure we simplify it. So 0.8, we would actually say that as 8/10. So we're going to write 8/10. We know that that's not in simplified form. Both of those are even numbers. We can divide them by 2. When we do that, 8 divided by 2 is 4, 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 4/5 would be our simplified form. Again, 0.36 is actually 36/100ths is how we would say it properly. So we start with 36/100 and simplify from there. Both 36 and 100 can be divided by 4. 36 divided by 4 is 9. 100 divided by 4 is 25. 9 and 25 don't have anything more in common, therefore we are done. 9/25 is the simplified form. We'll come back to that in a minute, but here are some common fractions and decimals that you're going to want to make sure that you know. So you're probably going to want to write these in your notes as being important. You should, if not by now, very shortly know that 0.5 is automatically the same as 1/2. That 1/4 is equal to 0.25. That 1/5 is equal to 0.2. We also have 1/8 is 0.125. 3/4 is 0.75. 2/4 maybe isn't quite as common, or 2/5 I mean, but you should know that it's 0.4. So you're going to want to make sure that you get these written down in your notes. They're common. A couple others that I think should be on there is you should know that 1/3 is equal to 0.333333 repeating, and that 2/3 is equal to 0.6 repeating. Those are some pretty commonly used fractions and decimals, so you need to kind of memorize those. So here are our steps for changing a decimal to a fraction laid out. The first thing we want to do is say the decimal out loud or in our head using the correct place value. Then write the fraction like you say it. So 100ths equals something over 100. 10ths equals something over 10. So 0.07, we would say 7/100ths. We would write 7/100, and then you would go ahead and simplify, which in this case it already is. So let's get a little more practice. We've got a word problem here. The length of a planet's day is the time it takes the planet to rotate once about its axis. Write each length as a mixed number. So 10.5, we would make 10 and 5/10. So remember, 10.5, this is the whole number, this is the decimal part, so we have 10 and 5/10, which we simplify to 1/2. 9 and 92/100ths, we would put 9 and we can divide that by 4 into 23/25. So 9 and 23/25. I would like you to get a little bit of practice on your own, so we're going to skip to this one. 0.4, we would actually say this as, I hope you said 4/10. So we're going to write it as 4/10, which these are both even, so I know that I can divide this by 2, divide this by 2. Let's see where it gets us. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 2/5. 2 and 5 don't have anything in common other than 1. That means I am done. How about this one? Where are we going to start off with this? We're going to have 18/100ths. So it's 18/100. Again, they're both even, so I'm going to divide by 2. Remember, whatever you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 100 divided by 2 is 50. 9 is only divisible by 9 and 3. 50 is not divisible by either of those, so 1 is their greatest common factor. We're done. How about 1.7? We would say this aloud as 1 and 7/10, so we're going to say 1 and 7/10. 7 and 10 don't have anything in common, so that is it. And over here, 1.82, 1 and 82/100. So I'm going to do 1 and 82 over 100. These are both even, so I'm going to divide it by 2, divide it by 2, and what do I get? Here I'm going to have 41 over 50. I don't know of anything else, so my answer, don't forget to bring back your whole number, is 1 and 41 over 50. So 1 and 41/50. Now you try these other 4 and this last problem on your own, and I'll see you in class tomorrow. Have a great night.